Welcome to myvelocitybanking.com. In this video, in the next series of videos, I am going to break down how to do velocity banking using the myvelocitybanking.com app. We've been getting a lot of questions, which I love, and a lot of new users. And so with any new users, a lot of new questions. So I'm going to break it down step by step. I'm going to do a bunch of examples. So the first, I'm going to do two just to start off. I'm going to show how the app works if you're a brand new user, and then how the app works if you've already added your information. And you're going to see that the more you use it, the more value you're going to get out of it, because it is going to break down your debt and give you a roadmap as to how to get out of debt. So like I said, if you haven't already done so, head over to the website, enter your information, and you're going to get a free trial account, and you can follow along. So I'm going to get right into it. So first thing you do is after you get your account, you need, let's get to it. First thing you do after you get your account, you're going to log in. So I'm going to log in. Okay, so I've logged in. So when you log in, we get to what we call the dashboard. So this is a brand new person, and I'm going to break this is a brand new person. So they haven't entered their information in yet. It's a blank screen. So right away, I'm going to give you some of the highlights as to the top nav. So first, there's up here is it's going to say welcome, and it's going to have your name. That's just going to be the notes. There's going to be messages. There's going to be the to-do list, and then there's going to be the logout. Logout's pretty self-explanatory. You hit that, you log out. The to-do list is interesting, because we put a to-do list of the things you should do while you're doing velocity banking. So as you do these, you can just check them off, and then you're going to see that this number 7 will get less and less as you check off the to-do list. Now, you don't have to do any of this to actually use the app or to use the velocity banking, but the more information you feed into the app, the better it's going to do at giving you the recommendations, and it's better it's going to be for you when you try to implement velocity banking. So that's the to-do list. And then there's messages. So messages is when the app sends you in-app messages, like if there's a maintenance or an update or anything along the lines of that. Or if you have a payment due reminder, it will send that to you inside messages as well. Notes is just a place for you to add notes. If you got an increase in a raise, or anything you wanted to keep track of, you could put it in the notes section. It's interesting because I'm gonna have to blur out some of this, because this is actual real user that I've got their permission to use their name. So if you see anything blur out here, you'll know why. So the second screen is where you update your password. You want to change your password, you want to change your name, address, postal code. And there's a bunch of tweaks and a lot of things you could turn on and off in the settings page. So we'll get to all this later. And here it's going to tell you which kind of an account you have. Now, another question we get, I'm going to get right into some of the questions, is how do I delete my account? I don't want my account anymore. I don't want your information. So here's how you delete your account. You hit this big red button that says delete account, and it's going to wipe out all your information. Okay, so let's go back to the home. So when you do home, it takes you to the dashboard. We call this the dashboard screen. So you get an overview of all your debts and all your information. And what's also interesting is right here, you get the online chat. If you hit this, you can chat with one of our live chat agents. So if they're not online, they will definitely get back to you. You just leave them a message, we'll get back to you. So this top half here shows your average income per month and your average expenses, and of course your average cash flow and the total debt that you're trying to pay off. So we're going to get into this. Now here, this is a new feature that we have added. So over the last 2 or 3 years, we've got a lot of people who've got out of debt. They paid their debt. Now they're like, okay, how do I maximize my money? Where do I invest? So some people want to invest in real estate. Some people want to invest in other things. So we have started a new fund. We call it the Velocity Fund, which is going to give you really high rates of returns So we say it's kind of like a hedge fund like returns for the regular investors. So we're gonna get into that probably in another video. Okay, then you're gonna see right here, this part's blank and this part's blank. So you're gonna see there's a lot of blank screens happening because there's nothing in here. But you're gonna see how this dashboard is gonna change as we start putting information, and then you're gonna start getting a lot more insight into, what your expenses are like and what your payment patterns are like, and actually when you start getting out of debt, what that looks like. So let's get right into it. So if you're brand new, everything's blank, so you start entering your information. So you can pick any of these, update, and it's going to take you into the actual screen where you start entering your information. So first thing you do is you enter your income. To put the income 1. Now, another question I get is, do we put our income before taxes or after taxes? So the answer to this is always, this is your after-tax incomes. This is what you actually get deposited into your account by your employer, or this is what you actually get on your paycheck. This is the bottom amount, it's what you actually get in your account. That's what goes in here. So let's say this person's making $1,500, and so this is their next pay date. So when's your next pay date? So let's say this person's next pay date is going to be on Friday, June 25th. And how often, then you enter how often you're paid. Are you paid every 2 weeks? Are you paid every month, right? So you put in how often you're paid. Most people are paid bi-weekly, which means every 2 weeks you get a paycheck or a direct deposit right into your account. So you add that in there. So that's your income 1. Now you may have another source of income. You may have a side hustle. You may get a bonus. Right? Let's say you had a bonus. You had a $300 bonus, and your next bonus is, I don't know, let's say you get it every, let's say the next one's not till September 1st, for example. Let's say you get it every, like every quarter. Let's just say you get a bonus every quarter. And then you also have a side hustle, right? Side hustle. And so in your side hustle, maybe you're doing an Amazon, so you get like, I don't know, like let's say $100 a month from your side hustle. And your next pay, you're gonna get that side hustle monthly, right? So you do that. So you enter all your income. And you can enter, I think there's eight spots in here to enter your income. So once you enter it, you just hit save. You'll see automatically that the app updates, and now it averages out your income. So it's important that you understand this part, that this is your average income for each month, right? So this bonus that you get every quarter, it like averages it out over the year. So that's it. So then automatically, as soon as you enter that information, you'll see that you get more information right away. It shows you a little chart. It breaks down where most of your income is. Like, so for example, almost 79% of your income comes from your primary income, and so on and so forth. So let's go down some more. So now you have your income. So as soon as you enter that information, a bunch of things automatically start happening. The app automatically starts populating things for you. It shows what your pattern is. So you can just tell at a glance which months you're going to have more income and therefore more cash flows. So you see that you're going to have more income come October, and then April of next year. So you'll see where your income pattern is. So again, just by taking a look at this, you can see how to plan for things that are coming in the future. You'll know, I'm going to have more income in like whatever, April or whatever it is, and you can plan it out. Another feature is called the calendar. So you can view the actual calendar itself. So you can see when things are actually going to happen. And you can go through the months and you can view the calendar. You'll see there's not a lot of information in here yet, but you'll see as soon as you start entering more information, it's going to build your financial calendar. Okay, so that's it. So now we got the income part. Now we have to enter all our expenses. So you go in and you enter your expenses, and I'm gonna do that right now. So I'm just entering my expenses in here. You could expand it to put to to see more columns, and you just go in and you put in like your cell phone bill, cell phone. Let's see, let's say $50 a month, and my cell phone bill is usually due around the 4th, I think, and this is gonna be monthly, and internet. So I got internet. So pay for my internet access. Let's say it's $80 a month. That's usually in the beginning of the month, and that's monthly. And so I'm just going to go through the rest. Again, this is just an example. So what you would do is you would just go through it, throw in all your information, as much information as you can, pets or your insurance or your gym or anything along the lines of that. So once you do that, you do save, and you'll see that this is going to automatically change as well. So now it tallies up all your expenses. So automatically it knows your income, it now knows your expenses, and therefore it knows what your monthly cash flow is. So we just keep doing this. And another cool feature here is there's this little add to budget. So if you want to track, keep a budget of just some certain items, you can just check this. We know groceries should always go in our budget. The cell phone should always go in our budget, and then any other thing goes into our budget. And once you say that, it's going to show you what your monthly budget is. So you want to try and keep under this, obviously, each month. And you could add and remove things to the budget based on your expenses. So now after you got your expenses in there, now we're going to move on to your debt, the debt that you're actually trying to pay off. So if you have a mortgage, you want to pay off your mortgage. Mortgage one. Let's say it's a $200,000 mortgage, $200,000. And let's say you pay $1,200 a month on that mortgage. And the interest rate, now this is going to be interesting because it's just going to be the interest rate, because mortgages are amortized and it's not calculated like simple interest. That's okay, just put in whatever your mortgage rate is, 4.45%, and then when you pay your mortgage. My mortgage, I think I paid on the 26th, which is due, and I pay mine every month. So you do that, and you do a save, and there's a little pop-up info here, which says every now and then you'll see that this little info button. So you could click that, and it will give you the little tips. So this one, when you're entering your payment, make sure you don't include insurance or like property taxes. So for property taxes, for example, you could put that as an expense up here. If your property tax is, and you could put it under entertainment or home or recreation. I mean, there's property tax slot right here. So property tax, probably, let's say you pay, I don't know, $6,000 a year. It's about $5,000 a year. Here in Toronto, it's going to be up, and that's due. It's usually due quarterly, but you could just do it annually as well. It's not going to matter. It just ends up being averaged out anyways. So you do a save, and you see as soon as you start entering things, your cash flow starts to drop. And you start entering all the rest of your debts. Now you put in, so these top two parts are for mortgages, and then you start entering all your other debts. What's really important is if you have a line of credit, a personal line of credit or a HELOC, you put that in this line. It's got to go in here. This is very important. It's got to go in here. Your line of credit has to go in here, because that's how the app knows which one is your line of credit. Now, let's say line of credit. Let's say I am with Bank of Montreal. No, TD, line of credit. And my line of credit, so my line of credit, let's say I got $160,000. Let's just say I got a $25,000 line of credit. And how much do I owe on it? So I'm going to use $5,000 on my line of credit, and each month I pay about $300 on that line of credit, and the interest rate probably about the same, maybe 4.45, and I pay that around the same time I pay my mortgage, so maybe on the 25th, and that is monthly. So you go in and you put in all the debts you want to pay, your trucks, your personal car loans, your student loans, anything along the lines of that. Now here, so now here's what's totally cool, is I've got a few calls and a few emails where people run out of room on this. Some people might have more than 5 credit cards. They may have 12 credit cards or 10 credit cards and no car loans or no student loans. They want to enter in more debts than is listed here. So we've added a new feature where you just click on add more debts. And you can add 5 more debts at a time. So the more you add, the more room it'll make. It'll just automatically build like 5 rows at a time. You just keep going until all of your debts. So if you had another credit card, say you had an Amex, Platinum, and again, it's the exact same thing. Let's say you owe $2,000 on that Amex Platinum. Your credit limit is let's say it's $35,000. And you pay $120 a month, interest rate 22.2, which is about average, and the next due date, let's say July 2nd, and I pay this monthly. So it's the same thing. You just go in and you add in all your information, and you see as you add in more debt, it's going to increase, it's going to calculate the debts as well that you have. So you go, so you go in now. I want to pay off my credit card. I have this credit card, which is Citibank card. I have maxed out this card. I got $6,000 and it's a $6,500 credit card, paying $200 a month, and the interest rate on my credit card is 19.99%, and I make my payments. Is the first of the month. So so far, let's just recap. We've gone in, we've added our income, all our expenses. Now we're entering all the debts we have. Showed you how you could add more debts in here. If you run out of rows, you could add more rows in here, and this will automatically add 5 at a time. As the more you add, the more rows it's going to build for you. So it's like an endless amount of debts you can add. Now, let's see, I'm going to save this. Now so you look at my cash flow. Now my cash flow is $78. Why is my cash flow $78? Because all of the payments I have to make here. I have to make all these payments. I got my mortgage payment, my line of credit payment, my Citibank payment, my Amex payment, all that impacts my cash flow. So now my cash flow is down to $78 a month for my cash flow on $215,000 debt that I need to pay off. Now the next section we have to look at is this one-time expenses. So the one-time expense is a really interesting thing. So one-time expense isn't like a regular expense. It isn't like your regular, cell phone bill or your regular gas bill or your power/hydro bill. It isn't like that you do every month. This is a one-time thing. So let's say you have to fix a roof. So you have a roof, that you have to fix your roof. So you're gonna put it here, roof. This is gonna cost you, I don't know how much roofs. Let's say your roof's gonna cost you 18 grand to fix, and it's coming up. It hasn't happened yet. It's probably come like next summer. You gotta do this like by next summer. So you go in next summer, next May. No, next July. Let's say next July 28th. Now, how are you paying? How are you going to pay for this? So let's save this. Now, every now and then. So now you see your cash flow. You have a negative cash flow. Why you have negative cash flow? Well, I'm going to show you about the negative cash flow. We're going to talk about this in a second. Every now and then. So the pay method isn't happening. So you have to refresh the screen. So you refresh the browser. And now your payment methods are in here. So this comes from what you've entered in here. Comes from what you've entered in here. Oops. Okay, like this. And you pick your payment method, which is going to be my Citibank. I'm going to pay it on my line of credit. Is it a recurring payment? Is it something I need to do every quarter or every year or does it reoccur? If not, you check this, you leave this, check this, no. But if it was a reoccurring, you say yes, and then how often is it reoccurring and when does a payment end? Because it's a one-time payment start date, one-time payment end date. So you do save. And now let's say that this is all our information. Now our cash flow is $198. Oh, here's that other question we get a lot, is that what if there's multiple, how do I remove things? You know, the way you remove rows is that you just make sure that there's anything entered in here that's just blank, and then you select this as well. You make sure this is blank, so the rest you can just leave. It'll erase it after on its own. But you just gotta make sure this is empty, that there's nothing in here, and this is also not selected, that it's just the dash is selected. And then you do a save, and that's it. And then when you refresh the screen, which we're going to do right now, you'll see that it's gone. Right? All the extra rows were gone. Okay, this ends part 1 of the tutorial. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. And when you subscribe, check that notification button so you get notified when the rest of the parts of this tutorial is updated and when any other new video gets updated to the channel. All right, so I'm going to see you in part 2.